You have a bag of old clothes in your closet, maybe a t-shirt you haven't worn in years, jeans that don't fit anymore. So you do the right thing. You drive over to the local Goodwill, or the Salvation Army, or one of those big metal donation bins in a parking lot. You drop the bag in. It feels good, right? You decluttered your house, and you helped someone in need. You gave your old stuff a second life. But what if I told you that simple act of charity is the first step into a massive, complex, and surprisingly ruthless global machine? An industry that measures your good intentions not in smiles, but in tons. And that your old t-shirt is more likely to end up on a different continent than in your own neighborhood. This isn't a story about a simple thrift store. This is the story of how your free donations became a multi-billion-dollar business. And by the end of this video, you will never look at that donation bin the same way again. Let's start with what we all believe. The idea is simple, and it's what we were all taught. You have something you don't need, someone else in your community needs it. The thrift store acts as the middleman, connecting your old shirt to a new owner. And for a long time, that's exactly how it worked. Organizations like Goodwill were started over 100 years ago. The goal was to take unwanted goods from wealthier households and use them to provide jobs and affordable items for people struggling in the industrial age. It was a local solution for a local problem. But that system was designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. A world before fast fashion, before online shopping, before we could buy a new t-shirt for the price of a coffee. Today, we produce and consume and throw away more stuff than at any point in human history. That simple local model completely broke. It was overwhelmed. So it had to evolve into something else entirely, something bigger, faster, and much, much more industrial. To understand what happens now, let's follow one item. Let's follow your t-shirt. You drop it in the bin. You feel good about it. You did everything right. But the moment that bag closes, your shirt stops being a piece of clothing and becomes data. It becomes inventory. First, a truck comes. It doesn't just pick up your bag, it picks up all the bags from the entire city. Your donation is thrown into the back with thousands of others and driven to a place you've probably never seen. A massive, centralized warehouse. Think of an Amazon fulfillment center, but for donated goods. Inside, there's a long conveyor belt. Workers, who are trained to make a decision in about 3 seconds, rip open the bags. Your shirt comes out. Is it a designer brand? Does it have stains? Is it damaged? In just a few seconds, a decision is made that seals its fate. And here's the first shocking part. Only about 20% of the items that come into this warehouse will ever make it to the floor of a retail thrift store. Just 1 out of every 5 things. The rest? It's considered unsellable for the main store. Your shirt, along with thousands of other items, is swept into a different stream. It's compressed by a machine into a giant 1,000-pound bale, a cube of clothes. Your personal item, that shirt you wore to a concert once or on a first date, is now an anonymous block of raw textile, indistinguishable from the rest. This is where the feeling of frustration comes in. You thought you were helping a neighbor, but the system is so overwhelmed it can't possibly handle the volume. Your good intention just became part of an industrial waste management problem, a problem that Goodwill has figured out how to monetize on a global scale. The best way to think about this system is like a giant waterfall. Your donation starts at the top, and only a tiny fraction of it stays there. The rest tumbles down to other levels. The very top of the waterfall is the retail store, the Goodwill you walk into. This is the most visible and most profitable part of the business. They take that top 20%, the best stuff, and sell it at the highest possible price. This is what funds their operations and their mission. But what happens to the 80% that didn't make the cut? Well, some of it flows to the second level of the waterfall, the Goodwill outlet store. You might know it as the bins. This is a completely different world. There are no racks, no price tags, just giant, rolling blue bins filled with a mountain of unsorted clothes, toys, and housewares. People, often professional resellers, crowd around the bins with gloves on, digging for treasure. You don't pay per item, you pay by the pound. It's chaotic, it's messy, and it's the last chance for your t-shirt to be sold in America. Because anything that doesn't sell at the bins goes over the edge of the waterfall. This is the bottom level, the part of the system you never see. This is the salvage market. Those giant 1,000-pound bales of clothing, they are sold by weight to textile brokers. Goodwill gets paid for this waste. These brokers then ship the bales overseas, mostly to countries in Africa, South America, and Asia. Your t-shirt, which you donated in Ohio, might end up in a massive open-air market in Ghana where it's called Obroni Wawu, which translates to dead white man's clothes. This global trade in second-hand clothing is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and while it provides some jobs, it has been criticized for flooding local markets and destroying the local textile industries in those countries. So, that simple act of donation plugged your t-shirt into a global supply chain you never knew existed. Now, hearing all this, it's easy to get angry. It's easy to feel like you've been lied to point the finger and say these charities are just profit-driven corporations in disguise. And that's a fair criticism in some ways. But here is the key insight, the perspective shift that changes everything. Goodwill and other organizations like it are not the cause of this problem. They are a symptom. They created this massive, industrial, global machine because they had to. It was the only way to possibly manage the mountain of stuff that we, the consumers, produce every single day. The real problem isn't the donation bin. The real problem is our culture of overconsumption and disposability. Fast fashion tells us to buy a new outfit for every season. Electronics companies tell us to upgrade our phones every 2 years. We buy things we don't need, and then we feel guilty about throwing them away. So we donate them. We use the donation bin to erase our guilt. We tell ourselves we're doing a good thing, but what we're really doing is making our consumption someone else's problem. This isn't your personal failure. You aren't a bad person for donating your clothes. You are just one person participating in a system that is far bigger than any of us. But once you see the system clearly, once you understand how the waterfall works, you get your control back. You can stop just feeding the machine and start making choices that actually make a difference. So what can you actually do? This doesn't mean you should stop donating. It means you should start donating smarter. Here are 3 simple shifts. First, the most important thing to stop doing. Stop aspirational recycling. This is when we donate things that are broken, stained, ripped, or just plain garbage, hoping that someone, somewhere can magically fix it. They can't. When you donate actual trash, you are literally costing the charity money. They have to pay employees to sort it, and then they have to pay to send it to a landfill. The rule is simple. If you wouldn't give it to a friend, don't donate it. Second, what to start doing. Be more intentional with where you donate. Instead of just dropping everything at the biggest, most convenient bin, look for local, specialized charities. A women's shelter might desperately need professional clothing for job interviews. An animal shelter needs old towels and blankets. A refugee resettlement agency needs kitchen supplies. By giving directly to these places, your donation is far more likely to be used exactly as you intended, locally and for a specific need. And third, the long-term mindset to adopt. Simply consume less. This is the hardest one, but it's the only one that truly solves the problem at its source. Instead of buying 5 cheap t-shirts that will fall apart in a year, maybe buy one high-quality one that will last for 5. Learn to repair a button or a small tear. The goal isn't to be a minimalist who owns nothing, it's just to be more mindful. The most sustainable item is the one you already own. By slowing down our own consumption, we can slow down the entire waterfall. Your donation is not just a simple act of charity, it's the first step into a massive global supply chain, a system created to manage the consequences of our own consumption. But seeing that system isn't a reason to be cynical, it's a reason to be empowered. You now understand the journey your old stuff takes, and that knowledge gives you the power to make better choices, to donate with purpose, and to think more critically about the things we buy and the things we throw away. The power isn't in the donation bin, it's in your hands. If this video opened your eyes, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more stories about the hidden systems that run our world. And let me know in the comments, what was the most surprising part of this process to you? Next week, we're going to look at a product that's in almost every home in America and the bizarre decades-long corporate war fought over it. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.